Hola, Eduardo.
Hi, Rudy. How are you doing?
Hola. I'm doing
Well,
good. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and it's a great honor to talk to you, man.
You too. You too. Where
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
where are you?
I'm in Madrid right
Madrid.
now. In
Okay.
Madrid, but I'm from Brazil, but I'm living in Madrid right now.
Okay. Fantastico.
First of all, I would like to thank you, man, for this interview and to talk to us. And I would like to start asking you about Brazil because you've been in Brazil many times, and I would like to ask you about when was your first time you have been in Brazil? Uh,
Mm.
what was your first impression, if you remember that, and did you think about that?
Yeah. The first time I was in Brazil was actually for a Brazilian NAM show. You know, are you familiar with the NAM show? It's like a
Yes,
yes, yes. So
yes.
that was the first time I played there. I mean that I actually visited Sao Paulo, and then after that there was a Quiet Riot reunion that we did that '97 until 2003, and we played in Brazil. I think '98 or '99. I'm not completely certain exactly the year.
And it was just São
And
Paulo,
then
no?
I've been playing there with. I played at the Manifesto. I believe that was the last time that I played in Brazil in about 5, 7 years ago. I did a my own show and where I play music from the bands that I've been in. You know, like Ozzy, Quiet Riot, Whitesnake, and Dio, with the local band, and that was a lot of fun.
Yes, I have a question about that because how did it work? Because you choose the members and did you know them before? And uh, because they were all Brazilian people, right?
Yes, no, no. I the promoter of the show sent me a YouTube video, and I trusted the band that they were gonna learn all the songs, and they did. They were great actually to work with. And with no rehearsals, we just did a sound check that day because I was doing a similar tour to that in Argentina. So that was like on a little break. I toured Argentina for like 3 weeks, and then I did this Brazilian the show in Brazil in the middle of that, and so I really didn't have much time for rehearsal. But it worked out. Great. I had a lot of fun. Great musicians. Everybody sounded great, and they learned their parts, and it was a lot of fun.
Yes, sounds good, man. We know Manifest and we know the owner of Manifest. I think he is your friend, right?
Yes, yes. Great.
Silvano.
Yeah, great club. Great
Yes.
staff. Great people. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good, man. And I saw you playing with. I need to tell you that I'm a huge fan of your work, and I play bass too. And so, man, you are one of my heroes.
Well, thank
And
you so much. You know what? I just remember actually the last time I played in Brazil was with Jeff Tate's version of Queensryche.
I
That
was there.
was yeah. It was a big outdoor show, as you recall. Whitesnake was there, Aerosmith, Rat, and
Yes,
that was the last time that I actually played in Brazil. Yes,
yes, I was there. I think your brother was playing in the same band. No,
correct, correct.
correct,
Yes,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Rud,
Yeah,
Rud, a long time ago you played in a workshop music in São Paulo too with
Yes.
a guitar player. I was there too, man. I took your autograph,
Oh
and I still
yeah,
and I still got it, man. I still got it.
yeah. So Bafo Neto, right? You know Bafo?
Bafoneto.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, he works with the promoter Paulo Baron.
Paulo
Yes,
Barão.
we know him.
Yes,
He's
yes,
famous.
yeah,
It's a famous manager in Brazil.
yes,
He's
yes.
not from Brazil, right? But
No, no, he's not. Yes,
he's famous.
yes, yes. You know what? This keeps coming back. Another time that I played in Brazil was with Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, I know it, man. I love Blue Oyster Cult, man.
Yeah, because Paulo Baron was the promoter
uh,
that brought us over. Also, he was the promoter when I toured with Dio in Brazil.
yes, I was in this one. I saw you playing. Actually, it was the first time I saw you playing, man. And I went there just because not I would like to see the band. It was a great band, but I never seen you playing before, so I went there to see you play, man. And it was great, as a great concert.
Yeah, I mean, playing with Dio was always every show was unbelievable because I'm a big fan of Ronnie since Rainbow,
I can
and
imagine.
to be his friend and his bandmate and to play with him, it was just what a wonderful experience.
I need to ask you. I don't know if you mind, but about this concert with the band, because this band, this Dio Disciples. No, I'm sorry if I'm saying something wrong, but I think it's Disciples that I can say. They are playing right now with the hologram of Dio, right?
Yes.
Ca- can I ask you about your opinion about that? If you agree, if you think is a good way to keep
Yeah.
with,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
there's 2 points of view. There's the fans' points of view, then there's the people who are part of the Dio family, and which I am one, and so is all my former band members, from Dio and
Yes.
management and record companies and everybody, to us it's so important to keep the memory of Ronnie alive. His music, because his music was everything to Ronnie, you
Uh-huh.
know, and it is the responsibility of not just the Dio Disciples, but every band that loses a member to carry on, because you know you we, you will be celebrating the memory and the music and the contributions and the love that went into creating that music, you know
Hmm.
and it is, and I know that is that tour with the hologram, it's coming from a place of love and respect from every single member of the Dio family that is
Uh-huh.
on that tour. So it's not really an opinion, it's more of an experience. From experience, I know that this is what they're doing.
Because the lineup of the band is almost the same band that you played with, right?
Well,
With Craig Gold and Simon
yeah,
Wright and
yeah, except for me not being there, it's exactly the same lineup as the last Dio lineup, official
uh,
Dio lineup, being Craig Goldie and Scott Warren and Simon Wright.
yeah. So if you would invited, could you be
Well,
part of
you know
that?
what? I did the first tour with them, with the Dio Disciples. I mean, this is like maybe 10 years ago. Was it
Uh,
10 years ago? No, no, because Ronnie passed away in 2010. So it was like, well, 9 years ago. I did the first tour, and it was too fresh after he had passed away for
uh,
me personally.
I can imagine.
It was a very tough, because no matter how good the band sounded, actually, the better the band sounded, the more I missed Ronnie not being there.
Uh,
So it was very tough. It was very tough. So I just did one tour and that was it.
yeah, I can imagine. And we are
Rudy,
talking. uh,
Rudy, I gotta say, man, that Metal Health was my second record that I bought in my life. The first one was Creature of the Night of Kiss. And
wow.
What?
No, I said wow.
Yeah, it was my my second record, man. And my first drum lessons, when I was 14, was Bang Your Head. The first music that I play on the drums, man. And I want to ask you, man, which show was more amazing for you? What's the amazing show for you in your career?
Oh, what show? Oh, I mean, there's so many.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know, but do you know which of them was the amazing show?
yeah, playing with my first show with Ozzy, with Randy, of course, and Tommy Aldridge. That was pretty amazing.
I
You
can
know,
imagine, man. I can
you know,
imagine.
playing Day on the Green, which is July 4th, 1981, with Ozzy was our the first with that band was the first stadium
Yeah,
show that we did, and the crowd just went insane. We knew we're kind of like on the right path, direction, as a band, uh,
okay.
when we played that show because of the great reaction from the crowd. Uh, Playing the US Festival with Quiet Riot was incredibly significant. A lot of shows with Whitesnake. See, I've been in so many bands
Yeah,
that
for sure.
just one show. I can't say one show because each band has their own special moment. Playing
Yeah,
playing with Dio, my God, playing with Dio, especially in South America, was very important for me. Me being Latin from
yeah.
Cuba, born in
Yeah,
Cuba.
yeah.
Not
Born in
just
Havana.
that's right.
I know,
and
man.
uh, and so every time I get to play South America, Mexico, Central America, the Caribbean, Spain, it's that little extra special because I don't get to do it often enough. I would like to do it more. So when I do it, it's a special treat.
For sure.
And have you played in Havana after everything, Rudy? If I can ask you.
No, no, I haven't been back to Cuba since my family left in 1961. I don't know if you're aware of this, but back then, when Cubans would leave the country, they would lose their citizenship status. So
Okay.
I was not a Cuban anymore. I'm not a Cuban according to the Cuban government, and
So
Oh,
it's still the same communist regime. So I don't want to go there as a tourist. I want to go
okay.
there as
So
as an actual Cuban.
even if you are an American citizen, you can't. It's
I
a
I want
probably
to
a risk.
I want to go there as a Cuban. I want to be recognized
Okay.
that I was born there.
Right. So yeah, man, I can understand. We are Brazilians, so uh, it's not easy.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
man, you said about the bands that you played. So with many great bands that you've been, and you played with many great musicians. There is someone that you would like to play, or in any band that you would like to play, and you
Well,
did.
yeah, I'm playing in the Guess Who. It's a great band, great songs, great musicians. Uh, I do some outside projects, and I get to play with some great people. Whenever I get the opportunity, there's always a bunch of heroes that I've never played with, but that's cool. You know, Jeff Beck comes to mind as being
Uh-huh.
one of the musicians I would love to play with. But that's
Yes.
okay. That's okay. I'm really happy. I'm very grateful that I play with some of my favorite musicians like Randy Rhoads and Steve Vai, and of
Yeah, I
course
can imagine.
all the great singers. Drummers like Frankie Banali and Tommy Aldridge, Gary Peterson. From the Guess Who. Uh, I am very blessed. To play with outstanding people that really challenge me and inspire me.
Yeah, I saw you playing in New York with Tracy Guns, man, and
Oh,
I
Tracy,
never
yes.
imagined it. You playing with him, and it was amazing.
Yeah, the band was called Gunzo, which was a combination
Gonzo,
of
right?
him and me. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, I had a blast. Tracy is a really, I believe, I don't throw around the word underrated a whole lot, but definitely Tracy, there's a lot of musical depth to Tracy that a lot of people might not be aware of.
Yeah, it was amazing, and for me, it was an opportunity to see you guys playing a great place and so close. And you did a solo or something like that, and it was great, man. Sounds so
Oh,
good.
thank you. Thank you.
And man, about I would like to ask you something about bass player. If you what your influence are, because I never heard about that. So, which bass players do you like, and what are your influence?
Yeah, I grew up, in the listening. I grew up with rock and roll, and from the '60s. So anybody from James Jamerson from Motown to Paul McCartney, and then of course, all the great bass players from bands like John Entwistle from The Who and John Paul Jones, Led Zeppelin, Chris Squire, Jaco Pastorius. I'm from Miami, and so is Jaco. So I got to watch him play live, before he became
Amazing.
a legend. And it's Stanley Clark, and I mean, there's so many great bass players. It's unbelievable. But I spend more time listening to other musicians because I'm more into learning music theory, not per se specifically an instrument. I've been
Uh-huh.
playing. I've been playing an instrument for a while. But what I'm really studying now is music in general. So I spend a lot of listening to guitar players, piano players, sax players, reading treble clef, uh,
Uh-huh.
just expanding my musical knowledge.
Sounds good, man. And do you like to listen to the bands that you recorded, or what do you like to listen to nowadays? I don't know.
Uh, mostly a lot of the stuff that I grew up listening to. I was listening to King Crimson yesterday.
Uh,
I was listening to the Discipline, the one they did with Adrian Belew, Tony Levin, and Bill Bruford, and Robert Fripp, of course. And progressive rock. I grew up with that,
uh-huh.
and then I got into fusion jazz and all of that. So it's just music that challenges me to hear different things. Not your typical blues based rock and roll, which I love and I play that, and that's a big part of who I am. But that's not the only thing that I am.
Okay.
Well,
And
what one thing that a lot of people don't take into consideration is that I was born in Cuba, and I'm 68. So, and I grew up with 50s Latin jazz, listening to that because that was part of the sound, big band in Cuba,
uh-huh.
swing bands. This is before rock and roll, before rock and
Yeah.
roll existed. So that's been in my head ever since I was a kid. So I gravitate towards that, listening to get Dizzy Gillespie, listening to Duke Ellington, and other, and the native Latin jazz bands.
Sure.
When
Uh,
we went in Hellfest this year to see Whitesnake, and Tommy Aldridge is on the drums, of course.
Yes,
And don't you
yes.
think he is the best? He won the best of the world.
What was that question again?
Don't you think that he is one of the best of the world?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, Tommy, yeah, he's one of the greatest. Absolutely. I mean, but he's been one of the greatest for ever since I heard him play.
Yeah,
it's, yeah.
it's true, man. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, playing with him was what a treat playing with Tommy Aldridge. Not only in Ozzy but also Whitesnake and some other projects that
Yeah.
we did. Project Driver and Manny Keaton.
Slip of the tongue was you and him.
I'm sorry.
You slip of the tongue. You play with him in the record. You slip of the tongue.
Oh, slip. Yeah, yes, of course. Yeah,
Yeah, great album.
yeah, yeah. That was a lot of fun to record.
And Rudy, I read your book, Off the Rails,
Uh-huh.
if I'm saying right, and it was more about your story with Randy Rhoads and Ozzy Osbourne and this part of your life, right? And do you think about to write a new book telling us about your entire life, in your entire story, or something?
Mm.
Uh, the question is if you have plans to write another book or just this
No,
one and it's
no,
okay for
no.
you.
I wrote the book to answer the number one question I get asked when I travel around the world, which is what was it like to play with Randy Rhoads? Also,
Yeah.
at the time that I wrote the book, there was a lot of misinformation and conspiracy theories regarding Randy's plane crash. So I wanted to clear it up and explain everything that actually did happen.
Uh-huh.
And that was my only driving force to write the book. I have no other need personally, emotional, to sit down and write another. No, not really. Uh,
And
anybody who's ever taken the journey of writing a book knows how lonely and how much time and effort does it take to do that.
I I can imagine. Yeah.
Randy, yeah, Randy was working all the time and effort, and I am so beyond proud. I am so grateful that I was able to do that for him, because that's the least I could do for somebody who actually is responsible for my career. And if you read is responsible for saving the lives of the people that were
Uh-huh.
in the bus.
Yes, I read, and the book was great, man. So many things that you tell us there, and it's amazing. I like it a lot. It's why I'm asking you about a new book, because I enjoy a lot reading your story, and when it's ends, it seems like we would like to have more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it takes a lot to actually, I don't know. It takes a lot of inspiration. That like I had to write the book, because if I didn't, nobody else would. It
Uh-huh.
would have never been written, and conspiracy theories and misinformation about Randy's death, and even about the Osbournes would have just been all over the place. And somebody needed to put an end to it.
Uh-huh.
And I did the best I could, and there it is. You know.
Cool. Right. And about nowadays, because I saw you in the beginning of the year, you were announced as a bass player for the new Revenge project, and right now I saw you were playing with the Guess Who. So, are you still playing with them right now? And what your plans? What your
Playing,
future plans? I don't know.
yeah, playing, yeah. I'm a member of the Guess Who. What was the other band that you mentioned?
The new Revenge.
Oh, a new Revenge. That
So with a
record.
Team Reaper, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That record is basically this. What happened? As a project, as a matter of fact, it was called Project. All the guys in that band on that record, we will get together and tour Russia,
Uh-huh.
and we did that like maybe 7 years ago. We did a couple of tours of Russia, but it was only when everybody else in the band was available to go on tour, because the original, the drummer James Kotak at the time, he was a full member of Scorpions, and
Uh-huh.
Kerry Kelly, a member of Night Ranger, and Tim Ripper has his solo career, and so on. and myself. I was doing other touring projects at the time, so it was definitely a project. So it was decided to make a record, and that record was made 5 years ago. 5 years ago, and
Uh-huh.
no label wanted to release it until this label, uh, I believe it's called Golden Robot, released the record. So 5 years later, I'm doing something else that I can take the time to
Sure.
actually go on tour with a band that really, it's always been a project because everybody else it's in other bands.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, and I don't know. And I have just one more question about my personal question, because in '85, I went in a Quite Riot concert in Brazil. I don't know if you knew about that, or and just to see you play, and you didn't come to Brazil at that time. I think you quit the band in '85, no?
Yeah,
And
I quit the band in '84, but since there were a tour already lined up right before, as I was, things happened that led to me saying, you know what, I have to move on, right? But there was tours planned in the United States and Japan. That Brazilian tour, South American tour, was not part of the touring plans when I gave my notice that I was leaving.
uh,
So at the end of the Japanese tour in January, I left the band, and then they carried on without me.
yeah, for me it was a bad surprise because I went there just to see you play, man. But anyway, so my question was what happened, because the band was great at that time, and it seems like
Yeah,
a great time of the band. So
yeah. Well, what happened was personal. It's personal between me and the guys in the band. But it was important for me enough to move on
Okay.
from one of the biggest bands in the world.
sure,
It was not an easy decision
Yeah.
to move on into like not knowing what my life was going to be like after working so hard to be a contributing factor just like everybody else in the band, to making that band a success.
sure.
And Rudy, playing in Spain, make parts of is in your plan to play in Spain?
Well, the Guess Who is the type of band that we basically to playing. Sorry, what was the question again?
You are telling about to come to Spain or not, but the connection was so bad that we can hear your answer.
Oh, okay, no, like I mentioned, it's been uh, the band that I'm in, the Guess Who, for many years. The touring schedule is basically in the United States with some shows in Canada and so on. So unless I'm playing in a project outside of the Guess Who, which I don't have any plans right now to play outside of the United States.
Okay.
Okay. So Rudy, I would like to thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Well,
the
thank you
interview.
for having me in your shows. Please send me a link to when it's posted.
Yes, for sure. And if you could send a message to the Brazilian fans and for your fans.
Yes. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, hello, all the headbangers in Brazil and Spain. This is Rudy Sarzo, and I hope to see you all very soon in the very near future. Keep banging your
Banging your
heads.
head.
Yeah, man. Thank you,
Thank you
man.
so
Thank you
much,
so
Rudy.
much.
I need to say you again, it was a honor and a pleasure for us. And thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much, and please let me know when the interview is up on social media so I can post it.
Yes,
Okay.
for sure.
Thank you, man.
God bless.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye bye.
Rudy.
Bye
Bye.
bye.